And now, a thought from man. Okay, I'm just not gonna beat around the bush here. I fucking love the new Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. It's on some god tier level of fun and action. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Ninja Turtles, but this series just straight up gets me pumped. It's got more action than any other series of the Turtles, and I really wasn't expecting that going into this. I thought, okay, it'll be fun and enjoyable, but I got so much more with this. I really didn't think this series would be as awesome as it is, but I stand completely corrected. This series is a reboot fresh off the end of the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. It does its job of differentiating itself from the other series by having distinct changes. This time around, the roles of some of the characters are flipped around, with Raphael being the leader, which is kinda good considering how everyone says Leonardo is a terrible leader, rightfully so. The main idea this time is that the series is episodic and the Turtles mostly fight villains of the week. It's more of a comedic, lighthearted tone than a more serious one like the 2012 series. And honestly, I think it just works just fine. The characters are very fun and the environments are bright and colorful. It sells itself for what it's trying to be, and it accomplishes what it's trying to be perfectly. And that's just something I really appreciate about this series. It knows what it is, and it's just straight up telling you, this is how we are, you gotta deal with it. That's how you do it. That is how you do it.
My work is done here.
The character dynamics have dramatically changed from all the other iterations of the Turtles. The Turtles all have upgrades to their exteriors that fit their personalities. They're more in sync with how these characters would act. They even have a major upgrade to their arsenals. You have Raph, who's now the leader of the group and is more muscular with Tompas as his weapon, as opposed to his signature size. He manages to do a good job as the leader. He's not overbearing, and he lets his brothers have a chance at calling the shots. And thankfully he leads without having a stick up his ass, so that's always pleasant. And Leonardo's more the goofball and the agile one with just a singular sword instead of his normal double ninjato. Michelangelo is more like the younger brother who still messes around, so that kinda makes him and Leonardo a bit indistinguishable from each other. That's kind of my gripe with this series. I feel there needs to be more of a distinction from the two. There sorta is, with Leo still giving wise advice to the group when they are in desperate need of some, pep talk. So I guess it's not too bad on that front in terms of Mikey and Leo not being too distinguishable, but it's still kind of distracting. You still kind of feel like these feel sort of like the same characters. So I don't know, maybe you can be able to get past it, but it might just be a small little nitpick. Mikey's weapon is more like this yo-yo thing that has a mind of its own. It just kind of can send it flying back and forth and just weirring around, or it just moves on its own, which is kind of cool and still fits with Mikey because it's sort of like nunchucks. And then you have Donatello, who's basically the same but with more tech in his arsenal. It's sort of like the live action version from the 2014 movie. He's also a bit more cynical, but still that fun-loving doofus as always, with some major tech upgrades. He still uses a bow staff, but it's more teched out and durable than his original wooden staff, which thank goodness, because that staff was just not the most practical weapon against some of those enemies. That thing was kind of a piece of shit, I'm just gonna be real. So thankfully he has this new teched out staff that can actually hold its own against major enemies. Now you also have April, who's majorly different this time around, being black, like her original comic book iteration. She's also more helpful with the Turtles by having combat skills from the get-go, instead of like in the previous series where it took her some seasons before she was useful. She's honestly one of my favorite parts of this series because she's just so eccentric and excitable. I just really enjoy how she is. She's just so fun. I just enjoy her character so much. It's just, can't get enough. Honestly, I can't get enough of all these characters. They're all great and fun and humorous. I just really enjoy the dynamics between all the characters. I really enjoy how they do this series. It's just very fun and enjoyable. That's just the best I could say about all these characters. I just love it.
Why don't you take it from the top again?
Here goes. First, you apologize to the dog thingy.
Let's do this! April!
I honestly have to praise the living hell out of the animation for this series because they go all out. Like, I just enjoy the fluidity of the animation for all the fight scenes. The art style just comes straight out of a comic book with its use of urban aesthetic and blend of colors. Panels feel like they're just leaping off of the pages with how well this is animated. I just really gotta give it to these series. It has a lot of dynamic angles, and honestly, a lot of the animation feels like they're doing the most they can just because they know they can. There's so much movement going on, and I just love how extreme they get with it. They clearly knew, hey, we have this ability to do all these great things, let's just fucking do it. Let's just go all out. And I just really like that attitude of just like going all out and being passionate and making something as great as you can with this, because this is just grade A animation and fight sequences and everything. Like, that's just what I gotta give up to them.
Capture those specimens!
Cowabunga!
This series is definitely more comedic this time around, with the Turtles acting pretty silly, and honestly, it's all the more better for it. I just find myself laughing whenever the characters say such crazy dialogue, or they're just having fun with some type of crazy situation they're in. It's just fun. It puts a smile on my face, honestly. Like, I just really enjoy how these characters play off of each other and play off the crazy situations that they go through. It honestly has to be the funniest that the Turtles have been in such a long time. I mean, the previous series before this, it was funny. It had comedic moments. Like, they could be silly while balancing the serious. But this one, it feels like they're like, you know what, we want to go all out with the comedy too. So I really give it up to them. This is a very funny and just downright enjoyable series.
Hey, why don't you pick on someone my size?
This is just a downright god-tier series of the Ninja Turtles. The animation is the best the franchise has been, with amazing fight scenes. The character roles are different, but that adds a good sense of freshness as to not step into way too familiar territory. It definitely is the funniest out of all the iterations that I've seen, with the character's lighthearted tone being front and center. I would honestly rank this in like the top 5 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series. Granted, there aren't that many, so what can you do? But still, this is such a damn good series. The Turtles are back, and they're honestly better than ever. But that's just a thought.